a little bit of water, and a lot of time. That's the formula for the Grand Canyon. No doubt you, or at least your kiddos, have been told that the Grand Canyon is a magnificent demonstration of evolutionary processes. A long time ago, with just a trickle of water and a lot of time, it carved out a big old canyon. In fact, a Grand Canyon. Let me take you to that big old hole in the ground via another detour through another canyon that was evolved a long time ago.
Look at this canyon. It reminds me of the Grand Canyon. You got this little stream, you got these steep canyon walls. How long do you suppose it would take for a stream this small to remove this much material and cut the canyon this deep? This rock has a history, just like I do and just like you do. It came from somewhere. A lot of these rocks have been dated to be 350,000 years old, up to 2 million. That's pretty old. But it might surprise you to know that all of the geological formations that we see here, the canyons, the layers, even the plants, are younger than I am. When I was born, there was nothing here but a vast forest, hundreds of feet below where we're standing right now. In fact, before 1980, most people had never even heard of Mount St. Helens. It was in that year, on May the 18th, that molten rock created a steam blast with a force of 20 million tons of TNT. Avalanche debris and other flows from the eruption laid down all of those layers rapidly, up to 600 feet thick. A couple years later, there was some more volcanic activity that created a mud flow that cut out this entire canyon. It also cut through deep bedrock, all in a couple days. Isn't it amazing what a little bit of information from the past can do to help change your view of the present and the present world around you?
Oh, it appears evolutionary math is wrong again. Little bit of water, lot of time equals big hole in the ground. Observable math says, how's about a lot of energy, a little bit of time, and another great big hole? What do you know? We can actually observe another hole in the ground known as the Mount St. Helens Canyon, and we know for a fact that big hole did not happen over a lot of time with a little bit of water. It happened over a little bit of time with a whole lot of energy. Is Genesis history? Saw this particular presentation featuring Del Tackett. He sure does do fine work. A number of years ago, they've now released it on the YouTube machine. You can watch the whole shebang, and you should, with your family, to equip them to run to university, get hammered by evolutionary math, and defend the Christian faith.
When we look at Grand Canyon, we see the inside story to the ground beneath our feet. And we kind of have a layer cake here, don't we, of strata that have been eroded for our benefit to see the inside structure of the Earth. These same layers are also in Colorado. We're also in Illinois, also in Pennsylvania.
So when you say sedimentary strata, you're talking about the layers that we see?
Yes. So the lowest layers are formed first. Those are sediment grains that were mixed, separated, and flowed in here from different directions and accumulated one on top of another. And then, of course, naturally, they convert to rock.
So you're saying that the solid ground we're standing on right now, if we went back in its history, it'd be liquid?
Yes. So the ocean is doing some amazing things, and water of incredible power is depositing the layers we see in the canyon.
And are there fossils in all of those layers?
There are marine fossils through all the layers. But the standard explanation is there were 17 different advances and retreats of the ocean over the North American continent, and it was extended over hundreds of millions of years.
And what is the evidence that you see here that would say that doesn't seem to make sense?
The 4,000 feet of flat-lying strata in the canyon are flat, and relative to one another, we look in between the strata layers and we don't see the passage of time in between layers.
You mean erosion?
Erosion, especially, and channeling on any great scale is not visible. And then we look at the strata themselves, and they provide evidence of rapid, very rapid sedimentation. Just minutes or hours is all that's needed to make layers.
I'm too dumb to figure this out, see, because I believe that there was Noah's flood.
In the 600th year of Noah's life, on the second month, the 17th day of the month, the same day were all the fountains of the great deep broken up and the windows of heaven were opened. My understanding is the ocean floor upheaval occurred. Some type of magma or earthquake propelled the oceans over the continent.
So that's why we get these marine fossils in these layers.
Yes, and we have 6 months the waters prevailed upon the earth, another 7 months or so for the water to subside. The 4,000 feet of strata probably represents the early and middle part of the global flood right here in Grand Canyon. We have other strata locally in this Grand Canyon region. That's called the Grand Staircase. We have about 10,000 feet, 2 miles thickness of strata on top of the Grand Canyon.
Higher than where we are.
Higher than where we are, and that represents the later stages of the flood and the retreat of the floodwater. This surface was beveled by retreat of floodwaters, and as the flood retreated into the newly formed ocean basins, then the continents probably uplifted, and the ark, of course, was landed in the high country in the Middle East.
You mean those dumb old Christians with their dusty old Bibles telling fantastic story like a man with his family in a boat to endure a global flood maybe give us better math? Instead of a little bit of water, a lot of time, a great big hole. How's about a lot of water, a lot of power, and a little bit of time will create a great big hole like the Grand Canyon, like Mount St. Helens Canyon, and like Providence Canyon, and like a lot of observable canyons that were created with a little bit of time and a bit of power. Good evening, my fellow totally depraved Americans.